piano singing his song. All the little birds on Jaybird Street love to hear the robin go tweet, tweet, tweet. Rockin' Robin, tweet, tweet, rockin' Robin, tweet, tweet. Slow rockin' Robin, 'cause we really gonna rock tonight.
Welcome to Life is Good. I'm Heather McKeown, your ever-loving hostess, and we are in Newport City with a very honorable guest tonight. And we're going to be talking about lots of things, mostly about the very, very important election coming up August 1st, which is tomorrow, I believe, or maybe even today if this is airing on the same day. And we have Woody Page. How are you?
Fine.
Me too. Thanks for coming all the way to wherever I am.
Well, it's nice that you're having me here.
That's good. Anyway, we are going to talk about the importance of getting out to vote.
Absolutely.
Because we are still living in a democracy.
Yes.
What do you see changing in the voting of this country and then this state?
Well, there are people that obviously care about the elections and the process, and there are those that, simply say, well, it doesn't concern me, and what have you. But here in Newport and Vermont, I think Vermonters in general care about their elections and who are the people that they're electing to office. So.
Yeah, and this is a mayoral election.
Yes, it is, yes.
And very important because Beth is a wonderful person, and she wasn't fitting into the mold of a mayor, because who does when they've got no experience? I know I'd be just like Beth. I'd be out there pounding the pavement, inviting everybody to come to Newport, and I think she's a fabulous example of being an ambassador. But there are other qualifications required, and Beth is the first one to admit this, and she's walking around with Linda Joy Sullivan saying, this is a woman who can be mayor like I was, but she knows how to do it. And I think that's extremely heroic of Beth to be able to step up and do that.
Well, it certainly is unfortunate what happened to Beth. I think the easy part of any election is running for office. It's what comes after once you're elected. And
are you enjoying it?
there are some things that I enjoy. And
like what?
Well, I like a lot of the people down there. A lot of them are dedicated to their communities and their constituents, and that's nice to see.
I think we have that in Vermont. I've always felt that, and I lived on the other side of the mountain for 35 years, and everybody was involved with everything, and we worked very well together. And let's see, the other part about the elections coming up and how we are good voters, there are a lot of people who are tired of voting, and this is a summer day election, and Tuesday, August 1st is a very important day. As Woody Page, how would you address the folks who are watching to get out if they're sitting on their couch and just really don't feel like it right now?
Well, hopefully the weather will be suitable to get out and vote in person. You don't have to go in person. You can contact your town clerk or city clerk and ask for a ballot to be sent to your home. I don't know as if you can vote via by the internet, but certainly you can request a ballot beforehand.
But this show is going to air the day before or the day of. So for the next election, folks, you can ask for that ballot right now.
Yes.
But this was a little short, so I'm glad you came in on short notice. What are your, when you look at a mayoral candidate, what do you look for as qualities?
Well, we've only had one mayoral candidate that's been continually elected for a number of years, so this will be probably the first time in many, many years that they're looking to vote and elect somebody new to the
I know,
area.
but what do you look for? Your qualities, qualities that you would respect in a mayor of this city.
Well, I think somebody that has some knowledge. I think someone that is friendly and courteous and tries to do the best thing for their city, their town, Newport.
Definitely. Well, I was at the forum last night and I saw you there.
Yes.
So what did you think? I think the questions by the wonderful lady who was moderating was fabulous.
Oh, that was Tabitha Armstrong with the Newport Daily Express, and you know, she had her questions, and it was a long period of time there to sit and listen. But I think it's important to know, you know, how the candidates feel and what they hope to bring to the city. I would just say that I think that there's a lot of pressure on changes here in Newport, and I think there's a lot of expectations, and I think I'm a little concerned that maybe some of those expectations of whoever's elected may be too much. So I would hope that the citizens will be that they'll take the long view and not expect things to change right away. You know, we're in a situation here in Newport that over the years things have changed, and not for the better, and it'll take some time to improve upon the changes that have occurred.
It's a large ship and very hard to turn, but it will turn. I feel extremely optimistic about the upcoming years here in Newport. I remember when it was Newport of old, because I was here all the time. I lived on the lake, just 6 miles across the lake in Cedarville. I came over in my little 12-foot boat named Midge with a 5-horsepower Johnson engine, extra tank of gas that my mother insisted I put in the boat just in case I ran out. And we'd dock at the old dock and come up for a Dairy Joy or go to the Burns Theatre or shop at Newbury's or go to Frank's Steakhouse. And it was alive. And I thought maybe it was alive because I was 10, 11, 12, up to 22. But when I moved here, there has been a change on the downward spiral bit. And you know how San Francisco had the earthquake in the early 1900s, and how more Oklahoma was wiped out by terrible tornadoes with multiple deaths. Each of those towns have rebuilt. I mean, San Francisco rebuilt stronger, better. Other towns that have been devastated have been built up stronger, better. And we have the infrastructure, we have the population.
Our population has gone down significantly.
But we have 1,900 workers.
Yes. We don't have the jobs that we once did.
There you go.
We don't have, you know, the railroad still exists, but it's not, you know, Canadian Pacific. We don't have 2 major lines that go through.
Canadian National
or Canadian National.
and Canadian Pacific, yeah, both of them. We go, one goes through at 4:30 every day, doesn't it?
Yes.
I love that sound, but I'd love it to be more often. So that is the past, but the future, I'm not saying the mayoral candidate can accomplish all of this, nor the city council, but if they're all working together, it will be a step in the right direction. And you endorsed Linda Joyce Sullivan, who I also think the world of, and for many reasons, because she has not only the passion for Vermont in general, she's chosen the Northeast Kingdom to be her home now, but when the questions and answers were going back and forth last night, the other candidates who I have total respect for them even running, because it's something I would never do, to stand up in front of people and try and give answers right off the cuff. They had wonderful solutions if they were only going to use local advisors and local people to handle local problems. But Linda Joy Sullivan knew how to expand to the outer states so she could get funding from other people, and she has connections at other places to bring more people in from out. She's not going out looking for them, she already knows them.
Right.
And I think that's a very important thing if you're looking at building a town or a city, to bring people in who know and already trust you.
Well, I think that's, in my own position as a legislator, I think the best way to help individuals that come to you for whatever assistance is your connections that you may have, or if you don't have them, you know who to reach out to, and put those individuals, in touch with one another. That's a good thing.
That's a very good thing.
And I think with Linda Joy, with her connections through the state, whether it be the legislature or, you know, the executive session, those are good connections to have as well. That's not to say that you know, everything's going to fall into place and everything's going to, you know,
no.
good things are going to happen. But
It's a step in the right direction.
absolutely, yes.
And one step at a time. The longest journey begins with one step, or the first step. I know a lot of cliches about first steps, and I usually fall in the second or third step. So,
Well,
you know, it's all right as long as you get up and try again.
right.
I'd like to see Newport rise from the ashes. I think it's already started. I think it started when we have an interim city manager now who's phenomenal,
Yes, she is very good.
and she's a local girl.
She is very knowledgeable, and she also has connections in her previous positions that she's had.
What it's, you know, I'll get back to the mayoral thing in a minute, but about Karen, Karen Garrity, who is our interim, and hopefully she'll stay on if she likes it. Because when I talked with her, her vast area of expertise is ethics, medical ethics, and compassion, and the proper use of medical ethics for the benefit of society. And I thought, wow, there's a person who I'd like to know better, because we've all had relatives who have suffered at the hands of unethical medical people in their lives in days gone by. My mother died 53 years ago, so had she had medical ethics within her sphere, she may not have. And so we talked about that, and I was just totally blown away by her down-to-earth ability to talk to someone like me about all those things. Very nice. And then she put me in touch with somebody I had to get in touch with, who I never even heard of before, to help me do something on Main Street. So the woman has connections too. That's just how it can impact me. So if a mayor can make contacts with people like Karen around the state, it'll be very helpful to a lot of us around here.
Yes.
And one thing that, I don't know whether you noticed this last night, but there was a little tension.
Yes, there was. There was some, maybe some snarky
I know, I was surprised.
remarks. Yes.
You know, this isn't the Hillary Trump campaign. That turned me off politics forever. But when something, so I did some research today about paid medical leave. And one thing, I read the article that was quoted by candidate Owens, and it stated one side of the story.
This is referring to, at the time, Representative Linda Joy Sullivan.
Yes, she was a legislator at that time, and the backstory isn't at all what was discussed last night. It was only one segment by by a 7 days article. I read that article, and then I read another statement that was actually, they're all online, written by Linda Joy Sullivan, about the reasons for voting it down at that point. It would have bankrupted the state because it would have mandated every person to buy into that program. And we had it at JetBlue, whereas if I got...
Well, JetBlue is...
We were huge.
Absolutely.
We were huge. And I'm not even sure any of the employees had to buy into it. The company took care of us so very well when I worked there, so that when my dad was dying, I was given a month off. And that's called paid medical leave, or I forget what it would be. The initials would be FMLA, Family Medical Leave, we called it. And that was a wonderful thing. And all my friends, if they had migraines, they could call in sick. But we had the manpower to fill their spots, or my spot. The company wouldn't lose their only accountant.
Right.
If I decided to pretend I had a migraine and take a month off. They wouldn't lose their only accountant. They would lose one flight attendant for a month, and there were 7 others standing there waiting to take my place. So when you look at it that way, and the way Linda Joy explained it, she saved us.
Well, also, I think her party expected her to vote in favor of it, and based upon her reaching out to her constituents and her fellow colleagues in her area that she was living at the time, she voted against it, and in fact, I guess they all voted against it from her area. And there were many people that just expected her that she would be voting in favor of it, and I think she was a swing vote. And
Because two other people apparently who were the progressives, two of them who were supposed to vote for it, decided to hide and miss the vote.
Yeah.
And they were actually hiding within the Capitol building.
Yes.
And they absented themselves. So that was very sneaky beaky, but you know, that's politics, I guess. But
that happens many times where somebody doesn't want to be on the record for voting for or against something. So
it's not unknown to happen.
Right.
But that was a surprising time. So everything fell on her shoulders. But I interviewed her once, and she said she voted her conscience. Now, when I see somebody who doesn't vote party line, I respect that person. I respect Romney. I respect Liz Cheney. I respect, and I was head of my Democratic Party over on the other side of the mountain for a while, but we all got along.
You mean the Liberal Party?
Well, whatever we were.
I mean, you were formerly Canadian.
Yeah, but
right?
on the other side of the mountain, I was living in Berkshire.
Oh, okay. I was thinking you were from Canada, and that's why I said Liberal Party. Okay. Because you mentioned you were.
Yeah, I'm Canadian,
Cedarville.
but yeah, that's right. I was raised Canadian, but I've been living in the States. My daughter's 43, so I've been living in the States for 44 years, and I became an American citizen.
Congratulations.
Thank you. And do you know, I did that for several reasons. I was a political writer in Quebec quite often, and then when I came here, I just wrote sports psychology for the first few years. And then I realized I don't have the right to speak out politically in this country if I don't marry the country. And I took those vows very seriously. I became an American citizen at Middlebury College, and it was a very, very emotional day for me. You know, it's only so I could write and have an opinion and vote. And when you're not allowed to vote when you first move here, it's not liberating, it's suppressing.
Well, my wife also was Canadian, and she also became an American. So
you did? Where are you from? From where?
Montreal.
Moi aussi. What school did you go to?
I went to Montclair's.
You went to, oh yes, you and I talked about that. They had the best reach for the top team. Do you remember that?
Yeah.
I went to Royal George.
And then I went to Sir George Williams University.
As did I, as did my father, my brother. And then I only went there for a little while. And Sir George, what did you take?
Fine arts.
Oh, how beautiful. No wonder you were talking about working with clay.
Yeah.
We'll have to interview your wife. Because we can talk about art.
Well, I'll leave and I'll let
Yeah,
you
that'd
do
be fun. I'll get you sometime, okay? That would be lovely. Thank you. Anyway, what were we talking about? Because we can talk about McGill, we can talk about Sir George, and we can talk about Montreal forever. I'm completely lost. Where were we?
Well, we were talking about the mayoral candidacy
and skipping out to hide and for voting.
Yes.
And everything falling on Linda Joy. But when you read the complete story of what Representative Owens was alluding to, that's a full story. And then I saw Linda Joy get a little feisty herself. And I stood there with a smile on my face and a bit of shock in my heart, because that's important, to be able to be feisty, to defend yourself, and also to defend Carl, because she defended Carl King.
Yeah.
Do you know that Carl King helped me set up Newberry's on Main Street?
Just recently.
Yeah, I flagged him down yesterday, and I said, I can't lift this heavy object. He got off his little scooter, and he came in, and he said, where do you want it? And then he helped me stand it up straight, and I went, that was very nice of you. And, I've had several conversations with him this week, and I would like to see him get a job as a pseudo ambassador because he loves Newport. But he doesn't, why would he want to waste his time as a mayor when he can be on Main Street helping people like I've seen him help people, one-on-one? He is such a good one-on-one person.
Well, we certainly have seen him on the streets recently, you know, with his signs and his little electric vehicle, I guess.
I know.
And so he's trying his best to get elected, and we'll just have to wait and see what happens, you know.
Well, I'd like to see him say he'll throw his votes to his favorite candidate, and then I think something very good from Newport should be bestowed upon him to thank him for his years and years of trying to be a part of government here. He has so many strengths that shouldn't be governmental. He's a kind man, and he's aching to help.
Well, he certainly wants to be in government. He thinks he can, his best interests or his best work could be there. You know, if he doesn't get the position, maybe there'll be some other position.
I think if he doesn't get a position, I think something should be given to him, a bone thrown to him, because he could carry it and he could do some good work on Main Street, because I've watched him work with other people.
And there may be other,
Or a nonprofit.
whoever's not elected, perhaps they'll have an opportunity to serve in some other way, you know.
I'd like to see him do that because he's so passionate about it.
Mm-hmm.
And see, when somebody runs, I totally respect them.
Well, I think like all of them, I think they're all new here to Vermont. New when I said they weren't, I don't know as if Carl was born and raised here in Newport. I think he
says he's been here for a long, long time.
Yes, I think he was born in Vermont and then eventually came here, like all of the others, you know. And there's probably very few that are that have been born and raised here and stayed here, you know. Mm-hmm. And
I don't think that's the major qualification for someone
No.
in office, because the more worldly they are, I think the better they can represent us to the
we
others.
were talking, initially we started out talking about how important the election is.
Yep.
And going in circles here.
That's the way I interview. I'm very sorry.
That's quite all right. If you've traveled around the world, you've seen how other countries' citizens may not have the opportunities that we have here, or the ability to vote who they want to vote for. So, and myself, I served in the military, retired from the military.
Thank you very much.
You're welcome. But it was something I wanted to do. So, but I think it's important that everybody should vote, you know. And if you don't, you really, and you've heard this before, you really don't have the right to criticize. And for those that are fortunate to travel, and even if you don't travel, if you have some experience watching the news, or you know, reading, or going online and investigating things, you can see how fortunate we are, not just in our country but also in our state. And so it is very important that we vote. And I hope everyone in Newport, whatever the weather conditions are.
I hear it's going to be 77 degrees. That's good.
It is, considering what we've been going through. I hope everyone does get out to vote, and I hope whoever becomes our next mayor will succeed, which I think we all want that very
definitely.
much so.
The first question I asked both candidates, Rod and Linda Joy, do you work well with others? And both of them said yes.
Mm-hmm.
And that is the start of something big.
Well, you have to, what is the saying, you have to go along to get along in some cases, so, or get along to go along. cooperation is a necessity.
Very much so. If we were going to bring more businesses into this area, what Linda Joy was saying was they should be complementary, and I'd never heard that before, nor had I ever thought about that before.
Mhm.
And that means if there's a Thai restaurant on one side of the street, you don't open a Thai restaurant on the other. Or, you know, you think before you plant another business in so they don't knock each other out of business. It's still competition, but it's a
good
variety.
competition, yeah.
And I'd never thought of it that way, and I think that's something to consider. We have so many good businesses here to bring in complementary businesses. Every business has 10 complementary businesses, and you could expand outwardly that way.
I think as far as businesses coming to Newport, there have been some that have recently come. What is it, Track Incorporated, I believe, is going into the former Bogner company, so that's good.
Did you bring that here?
Did I?
Yes. Did you have anything to do with that?
No. That was done before I got into the legislature. It was on the Newport Center Road, and then they decided to, through assistance through the Northern Vermont Development Association, NVDA, that they would get into Bogner and lease the building from NVDA, which I think purchased it. And so they're looking to bring equipment down from Canada, which is, ski. It's part of the ski industry. They are grooming machines.
Oh, fantastic.
And
I'd love to have one of those. Wouldn't you? I mean, imagine, my driveway would not take me 2 hours to clean.
That's true.
anyways, this company is going to bring those machines here to Newport, and then assemble them, and then ship them out from here.
Fantastic.
So hopefully people will be interested in working there, and maybe be even attracted to come here as well. So
From all parts of Vermont too.
Mm-hmm.
If you're looking for a job in the ski industry, and that's not dependent on the weather on Jay. This is
Right.
national. They'll be shipping them to out west probably too. And
well, and I think there's also different parts of the company that do other things besides grooming ski slopes as well. The machinery may be used for farming, and I think they're also going to be involved in, the power source will be electric.
Ooh.
So those are things that I think they're going to be
very,
working
very,
on.
very modern,
Yeah.
progressive.
Well, we seem to be moving in that direction here in Vermont and maybe in our country. So.
I know. I had my picture taken on one of those car electrical charge things. I wanted to take the two chargers at this one stand and put them here and lie on the ground and just pretend I was getting jumped. Like, clear. And I couldn't, you have to pay to get those things out.
Oh, I didn't know that.
Neither did I. So I just wrapped myself up in the hoses and said, clear. And the woman took my picture. I think she thought I was a bit nuts, but it felt good to me, Anything to get my heart going. But
We have one charging station here in Newport by the post office, as I recall, and the legislature and the governor, they're planning on more throughout the state,
what do you think of our governor now?
He has a difficult job with the current flooding crisis that we're going through. He's been through it once before with Hurricane Irene, I guess. So he has the experience. He was right out front and asked for an emergency declaration. So he's been.
And you just got Orleans onto that list, so thank you very much, William.
Well, no, it's not me. It's all of us,
Okay.
and
He's not really a politician. He's so modest.
Well, it's the truth. I mean, you know, people just have to know who to reach out to, and that's part of the job. And it's not just me. There are others. That
I
are
know,
involved.
but still.
Um,
No, I
but
think the governor is doing his best, and I've written him a couple of fan letters, actually.
Well, that's good.
Yeah, I did. He answered the first one and then got bogged down, you know, and he probably thought, you know, I'm not going to be your pen pal.
Well, I mean,
but he's a good guy.
well, I mean,
And he's moderate.
Yes, I like that as well. Unfortunately, we have a super majority in the legislature. I'm part of the minority, as you know, and I don't know as if that's a good thing. It would be nice if we were a little bit more balanced.
Yeah.
And some things well, I mean, like everything, you don't always agree with your leadership, but you know, you do your best to support them in whatever manner that you can. But you know, he has gone through Hurricane Irene, he's gone through the COVID issue, and now we're going through this, and he certainly it has been the right person at the right time there, you know. So
I agree with you. The right person at the right time. And the right time would be Newport to get a good mayor. Another good mayor.
yes, I agree with that. Whoever it shall be.
Whoever it shall be. But someone who can reach out to contacts everywhere and bring good things here as a proven track record is my choice. As much as I respect, it is a very difficult race. It's a very difficult thing to say anything on air because I don't know how the other people can, I don't know how anybody can run the way they do with so much passion. I might have passion, but it's not that I'd like to hold it out in front and say, vote for me. It takes a certain kind of confidence to do that.
It's also an ego, in some ways, to say I'm the best candidate for the job.
Yeah.
The job.
As I'm given to truth telling, I probably would never say that about myself, but it's true. There's a certain amount of ego involved in anybody and a sense of competition.
Mm-hmm.
But when you can see the softer underbelly of each candidate, that's where I vote. When I can see a side that isn't all about me, all about my future, all about my ambition.
Well, it's not all about me.
Oh,
Or
not
it's
you.
Or all about the particular mayor once they're elected, or the governor.
Yeah.
It's about there's a bigger issue. You know, there's a bigger thing out there besides.
Well, as long as they know that, that's
an
what I'm
individual,
saying.
You know.
The individual who wants everyone to vote for them
Yeah.
only because, and you see this all over the country.
Well, you know, with our governor, it's not just him, it's
Oh, no.
the state, the legislature, it's our communities. I think the House looks upon their community as how they represent them. The Senate, the Vermont Senate, maybe has a little bit bigger picture because they have a lot wider area that they're focusing on besides just one particular district. And the mayorship, you know, this is their little community here, and dealing with the council and also not just dealing but working together with the council and the city manager, and hopefully with the candidates, from what I've seen, I think it will be a good situation. Whoever gets elected, that they'll be able to work together to get the things that they
Yeah,
want to be accomplished.
right. So what we both have to say, vote. If you're seeing this on Monday, the last day of July, the vote is tomorrow. If you're seeing this on August 1st and you're very comfortable with a cup of tea, call somebody to give you a ride if you need a ride, and call the town hall, see if somebody can send someone out. We don't care. At this point, voting, use it or lose it. Our democracy is shaky right now, and we have to vote. So you say, well, I don't know all the candidates. Pick your favorite sign, go out there and vote for that person. It just takes a tick. Educate yourself a little bit first. Call your neighbors. Say, what do you think? Listen and go. It's not complicated, and they're very nice at the polls.
I would agree with that.
Okay, well, thank you, Mr. Woody Page, our state representative here in Orleans County.
Well, thank you for having me.
My pleasure. I'm a terrible interviewer, but I have such a good time. This is my entire social life. Thank you so much.
Well, you seem to do it quite well, I think.
Anyway, and we're going to have your beloved on to talk about her sculpting as soon as we can. Would that work for you? Then you can sit in the comfortable chair.
She can do what she pleases.
Isn't that wonderful? How long have you been married?
40 years.
I think it's going to work out.
I think
I
so.
think so.
How did you
Right
meet each
track.
other?
Yeah.
How did you meet each other?
Well, she came across the mountain
Oh, there you go.
to see what there was to see, and
And there you were.
there I was.
Was it love at first sight?
Oh, yes.
Oh, isn't that lovely?
It's time to cut the camera, I think.
I'm having fun now. We're not talking politics, we're talking about how people meet. Anyway, well, that will be another show. Thanks for watching Life is Good. Get out and vote, and have a great rest of the week.
They started going steady and bless my soul. He out-bopped the buzzard and the Oreo. He rocks in the treetop all the day long, hopping and a-bopping and a-singing his song. All the little birds on Jaybird Street love to hear the robin go tweet, tweet, tweet. Rockin' Robin, tweet, tweet. Rockin' Robin, tweet, tweet. Slow rockin' Robin, 'cause we're really gonna rock tonight.